Okay, welcome back. This is a lesson that talks about multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction of decimals. First of all, let me tell you something very interesting about decimals. It's just as simple as doing whole numbers that have no decimals in them. And decimals are basically change. So if I have $1.50, I can write $1.50 in such way, and that's where my decimal comes into to explain what change I have. So basically, these are the coins or the change that I have left, and that's just $1, the whole amount. So that's what decimals are usually used for, right? If I don't have wholes, I must have some remaining things, and these are put into decimals when it comes to mathematical operations. So to multiply any decimal, first thing is that you have to line it up just like we multiplied before regular numbers. 3.1 times 1.6. My advice to you is that you should act as if you don't even see any decimals in here. So just multiply regular. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 times 3 is 18. Put a 0. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 3 is 3. Add them. 6 plus 0 is 6. 8 plus 1, that's a 9. 1 plus 3 is a 4. Now, where should I place my decimal? Here's what happens. There is only one digit in front of the decimal here, so I'm going to put one digit. In front of this decimal, I also have just one digit. Add these places. 1 plus 1, that gives you a 2. Go down to your answer. So 1 plus 1, that gives you a 2. Go down to your answer and count from the right hand side 1, 2, and place your decimal. And that is your answer. Let's do one more. If I have 1.06 times 0.02, well, line it up first. You don't have to line it up if you don't want to. We're not adding here, we're multiplying. 0.02. 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 0 is 0, plus 1 is a 1. 2 times 1 is just 2. 0 times, first I'll put a 0. 0 times all of that will just give me zeros, and put 2 zeros. 0 times all of that will just give me zeros again. Let's now add them. Well, zeros plus 212 will end up giving you 212. Now let's count our places or our numbers in front of the decimal point. In front of the decimal point, I got two numbers. In front of this one, I got two numbers. That gives me a 4. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4. I put the decimal here. I have one place value that is empty. I'll give it a 0. So the answer for this problem is 0.0212, or as people like to say exact, you can put a 0, so 0.0212, and that is the answer for this problem. Let's do one more. If I have 3.45 times 2.861, that one is a bit big, so we want to try every possible way this type of problem can show in your test. So I'd like to put the one that has more digits on top, so 2.861 times 3.45. I don't have to line it up, it's multiplication again. So 5 times 1 is a 5. 5 times 6 is 30. 5 times 8 is 40 plus 3, that is a 43. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 4, that's a 14. Right? So let me erase these. Put a 0 and I'll start with the next number. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times 8 is 32 plus 2, that's 34. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 plus 3, that gives you 11. And let's erase these numbers and put now 2 zeros, because I'm going to start multiplying here. 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 8 is 24 plus 1, that's 25. 3 times 2 is 6 plus 2, that's 8. Let's add all of them. 5 plus 0 is a 5. 4. 3 plus 4 is 7. 7 plus 3 is a 10. 1 plus 4 is 5. 5 plus 4 is 9. 9 plus 8 is 17. 1 plus 1 and another one that gives you 3 plus 8 is 5. 1 plus 8 is 9. Let's now go back and count how many numbers we have in front of the decimal in each number. This number has 1, 2, 3. That number has 1, 2. That is 5 numbers. So I'm going to move 5 places from the right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Decimal goes here. So 9.87045 or 045, that is my answer. Let's now move on to dividing decimals. That's where some people might struggle or have struggled already, as some people requested before for this to be done. If I have 3.4 divided by 2.8, now how do you do this kind of problem? My advice to you is that get rid of the decimals. Just get rid of it. How? Multiply by something that will move the decimal away from the problem. Now I want to move it away. That means I'm going to move it to the right. And to move it to the right, I must multiply it first by a number that has a 0 in it, or a multiple of 10. I need to move it just one place value. That means I must multiply it by 10. Whatever I do to one side, I must do it to the other side. So 3.4 times 10 will just make it 34. Divided by 2.8 times 10, that will just be a 28. And now you have a long division problem. So 34 divided by 28. 28 doesn't go into 3, but it goes into 34 at least once. 1 times 28 is 28. Subtract that. 4 minus 8 doesn't work, so it becomes a 14, and this becomes a 2. 14 minus 8 is a 6. 2 minus 2 is 0. I'm not going to write that. If you feel like annexing, that means you want to put a decimal point here and then put a 0 here and bring it down. Now it's 60 divided by 28. I mean 28 goes into 60 at least twice. 2 times 28, if you don't know that, you can just multiply it on the side. 8 times 2 is 16. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1, 5, so that's a 56. Subtract 60 minus a 56, it can give you a 4. Or you can go simply borrow 1 and a 1 from here. This becomes a 5 and that becomes a 10. 10 minus 6 is 4. 5 minus 4 is 0. And if you want to annex more and put another 0, bring it down, keep on doing the same thing. But the answer for now is 1.2 is my answer. Let's do one more division. If I have, let's say that I have 2.1 divided by 1.6. First step is get rid of the decimals. So I would multiply it by 10 both sides so that I get rid of the decimal. And my answer, my problem now is 21 divided by 16, right? Take it to long division. 21 divided by 16. By the way, this is also, if you put this as a fraction, that will give us an improper fraction, right? Because division sign is the same as the fraction sign. 21 goes on top, numerator, denominator is a 16. This is the same thing as that, right? And when we just want to turn this into a mixed number, or we want to turn this into a decimal. I explained that before to you in a previous video. Go back and watch it. 16 doesn't go into 2, but it goes into 21 at least once. 1 times 16 is 16. 21 minus 16 will give you a 5, right? Put a decimal point, put a 0 here, bring it down. 16 goes into 50 about, I will say 3 times. I just take a guess. 3 times 16, I don't know. Let me do it on the slide. 3 times 6 is 18. 3 times 1 is 3 plus 1 is 48. Well, that was a nice guess. 50 minus 48 is 2. If you feel like put on, let's annex one more time. So I'll put a 0 and bring it down. 20 divided by 16, at least 16 goes in there once. 1 times 16 is 16. Subtract a 4. If you'd like to annex more and more, go ahead. But the answer for now is 1.31. That is how you divide decimals. Let's now do addition of decimals. Let's do two problems or one problem, addition, one problem, subtraction. It's very simple. So if I have 4.6 plus 0.02, Well, the rule here says that you have to line up the decimals, so I can't just add like a, put the numbers randomly as I did in the multiplication and division. So you're gonna have to line up the decimal first. So always put the layout first. Decimal, I got one decimal, another decimal. That means my answer must have a decimal. If I'm adding decimals, I must end up with a decimal. 4.6, 4.6, 0.02, 0.02. You must line up the numbers. 2 plus nothing, or if you feel like putting another 0 here, that's fine. 0 plus 2 is 2, or 2 plus nothing is just a 2. 6 plus 0 is 6. 4 plus 0 is 4, and that is your answer. Let's do subtraction. And then I'll give you a practice problem. 24.1 minus 2.31. Line up the decimals first. Decimal, decimal, and the answer must have a decimal. 24.1 minus 2.31. Now, nothing minus a 1, so I can put a 0. So 0 minus 1 doesn't work. This becomes a 0, and that becomes a 10. 10 minus 1 is 9. 0 minus 3 doesn't work. This becomes a 3. That becomes a 10. 10 minus 3 is 7. 3 minus 2 is 1. 2 minus nothing is just a 2. And that is your answer. Now for practice problems, try doing these following problems. If I have 4.8 times 3.41 and also 3.32 divided by 2.81, or just 2.8. Addition, just add the same problem again. And subtraction, you should do 4.18 minus 3.06. I hope you understood the lesson. And if you would like to write the answers in the comments so that I check them for you and let you know how you did, feel free to do so. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for the next videos.